want your
If you are a
parent or
parent, this
guardians
is for
to
you.
be your best friend. And what does it look like?
Talking about.
I mean, we want to hear what you say.
Somebody's over here.
Smiley coming up. So in my house, with my mom, it was always everything was up for discussion. Everything was up for discussion because my mama, she a real understanding person. So it was literally a conversation I had growing up with me. I'm a real knowledgeable person. I like to know a lot of stuff. So the way I would come across and say things, she'll be like, I know you not coming from a standpoint of, you trying to be disrespectful to people, but some people don't understand you how I understand you, so you might have to correct yourself. So I literally had a conversation with my mom. I was like, okay, I'm finna tell you stuff and stop me when I get disrespectful. I express my feelings, but that don't happen with everybody. And so when I was standing up here and you guys were like, don't belittle your children, but the whole statement of, you're not on my level sounds like belittlement to us. It's saying you don't have as much value as me. You're not as important to me. You don't put up what I put up, so you can't have a say so in what we do. You don't pay bills. You don't own this house. You don't pay for nothing. So and it's
that's good.
And it.
Go ahead.
And when you bring up the stuff that you do for your children, it makes us feel like a burden. It makes us feel like I can't wait till I grow up so I don't have to be a burden to you anymore. If you say it's like when people be like your parents had a life before you, it makes you feel like I made you so miserable and bitter and like I just don't want to be here anymore because you don't want me to be here anymore. So why should I be here and put my best foot forward if the person who gave birth to me, made me come in this life, doesn't want me? How am I supposed to look at somebody else for love if I feel like I'm not getting love at home? What do you do when you want to have somebody to talk to, but they like you can't talk to them? You go to somebody else to talk to, and that's not who you want us to talk to. How am I supposed to come and talk to you, and you don't listen to me, but somebody else may listen to me, but they not gonna treat me how you want me to be treated? You love me, but you don't show it. But they don't love me, but they act like they love me. So I'm going to go to the person that acts like they love me, and not the person who. I'm going to go to the person who acts like they love me. Because when you grow up like this and you grow up with people who emotionally stunt your growth, you go looking for other people and you insecure. You go looking for other people for sex, for people who going to tell you, oh, you're pretty. That's why the first person to tell you you're pretty, I'm glad my mama never. They say your parent and your family is your first bully. Point out every insecurity you have, and then you want your kids to feel beautiful and smart and go to school with people who telling them the same thing you tell them. That's not going to work. You can't want to be your children's love and shelter, but you're not that. That's materialistic things. If God was only materialistic to you, you will feel hurt. You need to have your spirit be healed. You need to have your spirit be fed. It's okay to have clothes and shoes and all this stuff, but what about my spirit? What about my emotions? What about my mental state? You can't be, you look pretty on the outside. You got me nice shoes. You got me nice things, but I'm struggling on the inside. And some people want to commit suicide, but they look good on the outside. Y'all focus on the outside so much that you don't take the time. You say you listen to your children, but 9 times out of 10, you're not really listening because we don't feel safe. You say you create a safe space, but that's 9 times out of 10 is not true. Because even though my parents never hit me or they never threatened to hit me, they words hurt even worse. When you telling me, you never say you disappointed in me, but your body language show it all. You look at me like I'm just like you can't believe you raised this. Some people say it to kids, I can't believe I raised somebody like this. Well, if you raised me so beautifully that you said you is, how come I ended up like this? It's a lot of things that go into having a kid, and some people end up resenting their kids when they have them too young or they have them with the wrong person. And some people just realize that sometimes it's too late to recognize the trauma, because when you get older and I don't have to spend time with you, how often do you see me? When I don't have to live with you no more, how often do you see me? When I have some people get jobs, some people hang out with friends' house because they don't want to go home, and you refuse to recognize that you yourself have caused your child's trauma, whether you want to admit it or not. And that's the issue.
Yeah.
City girls, country girls, city boys, country boys up by 153.7. 153.7. I'm so glad that they are having a dialogue with the youth and allowing them to express themselves, because one of the main problems that we have is, as a community, as black folks, is that we don't allow ourselves to have a clean, healthy dialogue without cutting somebody off in a very disrespectful way or in a disparaging way. They allowed this child, they created a safe place so nobody can get swung on, nobody can get sent to the corner for timeout, nobody, will get shamed for their words. They created an environment so everybody can express themselves and get it off their chest. And she got it off her chest, and she spoke on behalf of pretty much everybody who has dealt with trauma. And most of us have dealt with trauma, whether you want to believe it or not. The biggest problem that a lot of us have as a community, especially when we're dating other people and we have friends who are grown, especially dating, is that we don't acknowledge the fact that our parents have dropped the ball in certain areas, or maybe in a lot of areas. And because, you might have somebody in your life who you're dating and they really want to tell you what's wrong and where the root of the problem has came from. And they don't want to be disrespectful by saying your mom did it, your dad did it, because there's no easy way of saying that, because you're going to end up offending that person because they're going to protect their mom and their dad. But everybody out here is walking around with some type of trauma, whether you was abused, whether you were abused or whether you, mistreated in any type of way, whether you were abandoned. You can have a parent in your home and still not be parented. You feel me? You're still not being parented. Like, you can see your dad every day, you can see your mom every day. All they do is feed you, clothe you, bathe you, do all that different stuff, buy you different things, but that doesn't mean that you're actually parenting. This is why this dialogue is so important, because we as a community, we're real good at throwing a rock and hiding our hand. And it's so crazy because most of us came from trauma, and then we wait till we get grown to act like we got it all figured out, when there is no manual on how to be a parent. There's no manual. There are some unwritten rules, but there's no actual manual on what you should be doing to be raising your child. You can get advice from the church, you can get advice from your coworker, you can get it from your mama, your daddy, but they didn't have it all figured out as well. And a lot of us are walking around. This is why we're talking about narcissism a lot. Narcissism comes from your parents. It's way deeper than just walking outside your door into the world and you have a narcissistic attitude or behavior about yourself or trait about yourself. That stuff comes from the root. It comes from the home. And what people are not recognizing and not acknowledging, they're not acknowledging the fact that their parents and their great-greats and their great-parents or whatever and the grandparent, they have not been raised in a way where they can have a clean, healthy dialogue without being shamed. And now we're living in an age where you can't be putting your hands on these kids like that, which is good. So it forces us to use our mouth. It forces us to use our words, which is good. It's a spanking here and there, that's one thing. But when you take away the switches, you take away the belts, you take away the cable cords, the extension cords, and all that stuff that people had to go through, kids had to go through, then it forces you to use your mouth, because all you got is this. At the end of the day, the rest of your body can shut down. As long as you got this, your brain, then they say your brain is one of the biggest muscles. That's what they say, right? And of course you're going to believe it, because without this, you're nothing. You're nothing. So I appreciated the fact that she highlighted the fact that we are messed up as a group, and I like the fact that her mother has enabled her to express herself in a way where she's not punished behind it. And that's the thing. We have this sense of entitlement as parents where we feel like, well, I'm going to take the same, not entitlement, but we have this thing where we feel like we can use the same tactics that grandmama, big mama and them use, granddaddy and them use, mom and daddy them use, and we take that thing into it. Like this whole little thing of, I brought you in the world, I'll take you out. We use certain things that our moms and our ancestors used, not to say that it's wrong, but we don't acknowledge the fact that maybe some of the things that they taught us, or maybe a lot of things that they taught us, maybe, and even if it's indirect, was wrong. It was wrong. Your program is your program with your child, and your child program with you belongs to just y'all. It's only like this. What happens in somebody else's household is somebody else's problem. That's their problem, because the way they deal with their child, the way that child deal with their parent has nothing to do with you. The only thing you can do is put words out there and give the best advice that you can. And the real advice and the real root of everything that you're talking about is that we just need healing. We all need healing. That is all. That is pretty much the root of summing it all up. And the reason why those parents on stage were so appalled by what she said is because they've been through it too. So while you over here raising kids and taking on those same ideologies and taking on those same viewpoints that your parents, big mama and them had, you over here holding a dialogue. You holding a dialogue because I didn't even watch the entire podcast or whatever they got running. You're holding on to the same thing that them folks taught you. They passed it on, and now you open. The only thing they did different was just say, "Hey, we're gonna open up an environment and ask y'all how y'all really feel. If y'all got anything to say, lay it on the table right now. Otherwise, we're gonna get back home and we're gonna go back to you know what." That's what it is. So kudos to the parents for allowing this environment to take place. And kudos to that little girl, man. That little girl for putting it all out on the table, because she spoke for everybody, especially black folks. She spoke for us, for real. All right? We don't know it all. You know, a wise man, a wise woman realize they know nothing. And what I mean by that is, and I'm pretty sure y'all done heard it before, is that no matter how smart you think you are, you still know nothing. There's nothing new under the sun. There's always room to grow. There's always room to learn. And in the moment you feel like that you got it all figured out, your mission is complete. God didn't take you out. God didn't take you out, bro. Oh, you got it figured out? All right, let's call his number. His number what? 4,765," Yeah, let's take him. Yeah, he know it all. So you shouldn't walk around with a know-it-all mentality, and you should always go into it thinking that you should never go into any conversation, any dialogue thinking that you're 1A and that person's 1B. You should never do that. You should go in it as equal. Even if you feel like you know more than that person, there's always something that person can teach you, whether it's directly or indirectly. Just saying. This is probably one of the best videos I've ever reacted to. For real. It's clean. It's for the people. It helps us grow. And it's a solution to it. Healing is everything, bro. This is why we going back and forth with each other online about gender wars and all that other stuff, because we are still hurt from the things that them folks put on us, our ancestors, our mothers, our fathers, and all that. And we take that hurt to the internet. And then we get so much confidence, and we molded ourselves over the years to feel comfortable enough to say what we gotta say in these comments. We molded ourselves in the mirror with these videos. And you know, because the camera's on your phone, so we are now at a place where we're actually molding ourselves. We mold ourselves so much that we take our pain to the darkest place, and the darkest place is the World Wide Web. There's a gift and there's a curse in everything, but what we're not acknowledging is the fact that we've taken pain and hurt from someplace and we brought it to this internet, and now we're trying to figure out how can we get a clean, healthy dialogue without disrespecting each other. How? This is it. You are what you click. If you out here worried about baby mama this, baby mama that, who cheated this, who cheated that, that's all you're gonna see. That's all the algorithm gonna feed you. Sometimes the algorithm can be the biggest devil. You gotta learn how to beat the algorithm, because you're human. The algorithm is a system that is set based off of your behavior. So if you got twerk contests and stuff all coming all across your phone, if you got baby mama, baby daddy this coming all across your phone, if you got Bishop T.D. Jakes coming all across your phone, Joel Osteen, if you got, you know, whatever the case, whatever it is, that's your behavior. It's studying you. And then they're reporting it back to them folks. And then they're doing an analysis on you, on your children. So you can't hide. You can't hide. You are what you click. They already got you figured out. It's so deep that they already know, they can kind of predict how your children are going to come out before you even know how your kid's going to come out, no matter how much you pray. Because prayer is one thing, but prayer ain't nothing without faith and work. It ain't nothing. And the work is the biggest part. So instead of us raising our kids, what we do, we send them out there into the world. We send them to the Boys and Girls Club. Yeah, you can raise them. Yeah, we send them to church. Yeah, you can raise them, but you don't want to do the job. You at work 6 times a week, 4 times a week. Don't even speak to your kids. Don't even really take them out to eat. Don't even really have a good dialogue, a good walk in the park, and ask them how they feeling. You know, how were you this week? What's really happening with you? Who's your bully? What triggers you the most? What don't trigger you at all? We don't ask those simple questions, and we think because we put a steak in their mouth that we done did our job. And then we have the nerve to sit there and say, when you turn 18, you get up out my house. Black people are the number one group in the world where we will tell our children, you out my house by this age. And this is why they be so ready to get out. This is why they don't return home. And this is why they're not taking care of your ass, you know, and they throwing you in a nursing home when you get old. And you sitting here mad talking about, oh, my kids ain't this. Yeah, whatever. You get in what you put in. You get back what you put in. I'm done, bro. Y'all know what to do. Leave a comment.